Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going on a deeply validating journey into the heart of what it actually means to be highly sensitive. Look, if you're someone who constantly feels the emotional weight of a room the second you walk in, or if you get completely overwhelmed by just the sheer volume of the world, or maybe you've just always felt like you're floating alone in a sea of normal, well, this explainer was built specifically for you. Today, we're unpacking the core insights from Alyce Dylan's incredible book, Alone in a Sea of Normal. We're going to break down her insights and give you a real, practical roadmap for daily support. We want to help you find genuine peace and self-acceptance as an empath. So let's get started, shall we? I want to start off by acknowledging something really heavy. That deep, lingering fatigue of constantly feeling too much in your daily life. It's a lot to carry around, isn't it? If you're an empath, an indigo adult, or just a highly sensitive person, you already know the daily grind of trying to navigate a world that constantly demands you be tough, unfeeling, or perfectly resilient. And honestly, that friction takes a massive toll. Because of it, we end up spending so much of our lives trying to fix our sensitivity, right? We suppress our emotional depth just to fit in, and we carry around years of internalized shame just because we get overwhelmed easily. But what if you stop for a second and asked yourself, what if there's absolutely nothing wrong with me? What if that entire narrative is just completely upside down? That disarming question is literally the central pivot of Alyce Dylan's work. It's designed to stop your self-doubt right in its tracks. And that question has an immediate, powerful impact. I want to share something from reviewer Delphine Hoover, who said discovering this framework felt like being seen, truly seen for the first time. I wanted to share her words right out of the gate so you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are not alone in the struggle. Thousands of people have walked this exact same path of feeling too sensitive, only to finally realize their experience is totally valid. Now, I want to throw a number at you, 25. That's not just some random figure. That represents the 25 years of intuitive counseling, coaching, and mediumship that Alyce Dylan compressed into this supportive framework. Plus, she's a 27-year veteran Usui Shiki Roho Reiki master, and, crucially, a surviving empath herself. So the point here is that these insights aren't just abstract pie-in-the-sky theories. These are road-tested, grounded perspectives that have literally brought peace and self-management to thousands of clients all over the world. So, if it's not a flaw, what is it? Well, let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture of where we are as a species. This is where we dramatically pivot the narrative. We need to stop looking at intense sensitivity as a medical flaw or some heavy emotional burden and start recognizing it as a profound biological and spiritual milestone. Reviewer and Kosinathi Journeyman hit the nail on the head, pointing out that spiritual perception or having a sixth sense is more likely a result of human evolution than an outcome of a heavenly conspiracy. I love that. It's such a grounded, refreshing take. It takes empathy away from mythological chosen one tropes and places it squarely in the realm of natural human evolution. You're simply experiencing the leading edge of human development. So what exactly is this sixth-sensed experience? Think of it as a natural evolutionary shift involving heightened sensory awareness, emotional depth, and spiritual perception. By defining it this way, it completely normalizes your intense daily reality. You aren't experiencing some weird glitch in your system. You're experiencing the next phase of human normal. You're just operating with an expanded sensory toolkit. The crucial takeaway here is so simple but profoundly important. You are not broken, period. You are simply wired differently for an evolving world. Let that sink in for a second. It completely dismantles the idea that your sensitivity is a weakness. When you realize humanity is transitioning to a new phase of evolution, your personal struggles suddenly have all this context. You're basically just an early adopter. But look, being ahead of the curve, it's downright exhausting sometimes. The reality of getting through the day can still be really tough. We have to acknowledge the sheer exhaustion of surviving in a society that, frankly, isn't built for your depth yet. Society is still overwhelmingly operating on a five-sense baseline, and that creates intense friction every single day. On one side, you've got this five-sensed world. It's loud, it's fast, disconnected, and mostly just focused on surviving. Contrast that with your sixth-sensed experience, which craves authenticity, deep connection, and is really geared toward thriving. When you place a sixth-sensed person into a five-sense environment, of course there's going to be overwhelm. You're literally picking up on frequencies the world around you is completely ignoring. And when you finally understand this disconnect, oh man, the relief is immense. Kevin Fitzpatrick put it perfectly when he said, "I had no idea what an impact having six rather than just five senses was having on my life. Now I get it, and the world makes sense. For the first time. You aren't crazy, you're just processing way more data than the world is currently designed for. And the relief that washes over you when that finally clicks, it's an absolute game changer. But that friction does lead to very specific daily challenges, right? Heightened emotional depth, intense sensitivity to certain materials, strong scents, loud sounds, frequent sensory overwhelm, and that nagging, lingering feeling of being an outsider or being too much. If you're nodding along right now, I just want to validate that your experiences are real. They are shared by thousands of other indigo adults and empaths, and they are completely normal for a sixth-sensed individual. Okay, so how do we move from just barely surviving to actually thriving? Let's get into the practical side of things. Alyce Dylan's work doesn't just pat you on the back and leave you there. It provides a grounded roadmap for daily self-management. Let's walk through these 4 steps. First, flip the script. You have to actively reframe your sensitivity as a valid strength, not a weakness. Second, stop measuring yourself against a 5-sensed normal. That yardstick was literally never meant for you. Third, honor your boundaries. If you're saturated, step back. No guilt, no apologies. And fourth, maintain your authenticity and personal integrity. That is absolutely vital for your spiritual well-being. And this brings us to what I think is the most therapeutic takeaway of this whole explainer. It boils down to one word: permission. Permission to feel deeply, permission to step back, permission to just be you. As an empath, you don't need to fix yourself to fit into a loud world. You have full permission to operate exactly as you are wired. Alyce frames this perfectly in her book. She says, "The right path for you is one that speeds your steps, lifts your burdens, and heals your heart to receive more and more love, peace, and joy." Isn't that beautiful? That is the uplifting vision of what your life can actually look like when you fully accept, manage, and celebrate your sixth sense nature. It doesn't have to be a burden at all. It can be an absolute gift. Which leaves us with one final, empowering question. Are you ready to step into your authentic self? Now that you know you aren't broken, and now that you know your sensitivity is just the leading edge of human evolution, are you ready to stop fighting your own nature and start finding your joy? I really hope this explainer has given you the clarity and the comfort you deserve today. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the sixth sensed experience. Take care of yourselves out there.